Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 7th grade concept of writing real-world problems. This is standard 7.10c in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 33 of the 2018 released STAAR test. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and then we will look at our answers together. So we've got this basic inequality here. 120 is less than or equal to 12k plus 29. We need to match that up here. So let's look. Felicia has 12 buttons in her collection. She will collect 29 new buttons every year, and Felicia collects for k years. All right, so this 29 new buttons every year is going to go with this because we need to find the variable that goes with the years. Those two go together. So for what values of k will Felicia have at least 120 buttons? Okay. So let's see. I'm going to kind of build this from left to right. I've got 12 buttons in her collection. And she's going to collect 29 new buttons every year. So start with 12. We're going to add 29. And then the k is going to be the year. So 29 per year. She wants to have at least. So at least lets me know it's going to be greater than or equal to. So I want to be greater than or at least equal to 120. So if we wanted to write this the other way, right, we could flip this. We could do this 120, flip it, 12 plus 29k. But obviously you see the k is on the wrong one, should be on the 12, so that's going to be incorrect, but that's kind of the way we can do this. Let's look at B. Felicia has 29 buttons. She is going to collect 12 new buttons every year, k years. All right, so now my 12 is going to go with my k here, so that's good. For what values of k will she have at least 120? Same thing, at least, greater than or equal to 120. So if I wanted to flip that, right, put the 120 first, you have to also flip the inequality here because you want the opening to go to, the 12k like it was, 12k plus 29. So look at that. B is looking good. Let's just double check and make sure C and D don't work. Felicia has 29 buttons. She would collect 12 new buttons every year. That's just like B. For k years. All right, so we're going to do 12k. But look at this. At most. See, that's the difference here. At least, at most, and look at D, at most. So at most, that means you want to be less than or equal to, because you don't want to be greater than 120. But what happens if I flip this? Because you want the opening to go to 120, 12k plus 29. So the inequality is wrong. Everything else is good. Let's check D. And I'll write that underneath the problem. Felicia has 12 buttons in her collection. She would collect 29 new buttons every year. Yeah, that's not going to work because we've got 29 new buttons every year for k years. Now we've got the k years next to the 29, and it needs to be next to the 12. For what values will k have at most? At most. So we want to be less than or equal to 120 because we don't want to get more than that, which it looks like it's the right one, but remember we got to flip it to get that 120 up in the front. And since in this case my opening is going to 120, you have to flip it in order to keep that opening pointing to do that. See, we can do this with equations all the time. We flip it, we don't worry about it, because when you're flipping an equal sign, right, an equal sign is just an equal sign flipped. But when you're flipping a greater than sign, it turns into a less than sign. So our answer here is B.